Every royal event is carefully choreographed. Every handshake has meaning. Every entrance is timed to perfection. And every single seat tells a story. At first glance, it looked like just another magnificent evening inside Windsor Castle. Crystal chandeliers illuminated the grand hall. Gold-trimmed place settings sparkled beneath centuries-old portraits. Diplomats, heads of state, senior royals, and distinguished guests prepared to attend one of the monarchy's most prestigious traditions, a formal state banquet where protocol is followed with extraordinary precision. But according to reports circulating among royal commentators, something unexpected happened before the first course was ever served. A single chair became the center of attention. And for a brief moment, the carefully planned order of one of Britain's most important royal occasions appeared to falter. Some commentators have claimed that Queen Camilla briefly sat in a seat reserved for Princess Charlotte before the banquet officially began. While these accounts have never been confirmed by Buckingham Palace, the story has continued to fuel discussion because of what that chair was believed to represent. If those reports were accurate, this was never simply about where someone happened to sit. It was about hierarchy. It was about succession. And, perhaps most importantly, it was about the future generation of the royal family. Stay with us, because the symbolism behind this reported moment may explain why even the smallest detail inside a royal banquet can carry enormous significance. To understand why this story attracted so much attention, it's important to understand how royal state banquets actually work. Unlike ordinary formal dinners, these events are planned months in advance. Palace officials carefully arrange every guest according to diplomatic protocol, constitutional importance, family rank, and ceremonial tradition. Nothing is left to chance. Every place card is printed after countless reviews. Every chair has been assigned for a specific reason. Even the distance between guests can reflect political relationships or royal precedents. Former palace staff have often described these events as being closer to military precision than ordinary hospitality. One unexpected change can affect the entire sequence of introductions, speeches, photographs, and ceremonial traditions that follow. That is why seating arrangements are treated with extraordinary seriousness inside royal households. For centuries, monarchs have used banquets to send subtle messages without saying a single word. Sometimes those messages concern diplomacy. Sometimes they concern family. And sometimes they quietly signal the future. Princess Charlotte may still be young, but she occupies a remarkable place within that future. As the daughter of the Prince and Princess of Wales, Charlotte represents the next generation of working royals. She has gradually appeared at increasingly important public events with remarkable confidence, earning praise from royal observers for her composure despite her young age. Since changes to the rules of succession ensured that birth order, rather than gender, determines position in line to the throne, Charlotte's place carries historic significance of its own. Royal watchers have frequently pointed out that today's ceremonies are not only about current leadership, they are also opportunities to introduce tomorrow's. That is why every appearance, every photograph, and every carefully arranged moment can become symbolically important. Which brings us back to the reported seating incident. According to accounts shared by several royal commentators online, preparations inside the banquet hall were nearly complete when Queen Camilla was seen occupying Princess Charlotte's assigned chair. Whether this was a simple misunderstanding, a temporary pause before guests settled into their correct places, or an event exaggerated through later retellings remains unclear. No official statement has ever verified those claims. But inside royal circles, even the possibility sparked debate. Because protocol isn't simply etiquette. Protocol is symbolism. Imagine spending months preparing an event designed to present stability, continuity, and order to visiting world leaders. Now imagine even a small uncertainty appearing in that carefully planned picture. Palace staff are trained to resolve such situations discreetly. They rarely draw attention to problems. Instead, corrections are made quietly, efficiently, and almost invisibly. Guests often never realize anything unusual has happened. That discretion has always been one of the monarchy's greatest strengths. The public sees elegance. Behind the scenes, countless professionals ensure that elegance never slips. According to some royal commentators, this reported seating confusion required exactly that kind of quiet attention. Nobody raised their voice. Nobody created a public scene. There were no dramatic confrontations. Instead, the atmosphere was said to have shifted almost imperceptibly. Those familiar with royal protocol have long noted that experienced members of the royal family understand these signals immediately. A misplaced guest, a delayed entrance, an incorrect introduction. Each carries meaning far beyond the moment itself. Some observers have suggested that King Charles became aware of the reported seating issue before guests fully settled into the banquet. Although there is no official confirmation describing exactly what happened next, many commentators believe any correction would almost certainly have been handled privately and with minimal disruption. That would be entirely consistent with decades of royal practice. Public calm. Private correction. Institution first. Individual second. For King Charles, preserving the dignity of the crown has consistently been presented as one of his highest priorities. Any action taken would likely have reflected that guiding principle. Meanwhile, attention naturally turned toward another senior royal whose responsibilities have grown steadily in recent years. Prince William. As heir to the throne, and as Princess Charlotte's father, William occupies a unique position within both the institution and his own family. His public role increasingly involves representing the monarchy's future while protecting the next generation preparing to inherit it. Supporters often view him as someone balancing two identities at once: a future king and a father. If reports about the seating confusion were true, those two responsibilities would have intersected in a remarkably symbolic way. Because this was never simply about a chair. It was about what that chair represented. And according to many royal observers, what happened next would reinforce an important message about continuity, succession, and the carefully guarded traditions that have defined Britain's monarchy for generations. But if the situation ended quietly, why has this reported incident continued to fascinate royal watchers around the world? Because in the royal family, silence often speaks louder than words. And in Part 2, we'll explore why some commentators believe King Charles and Prince William reportedly acted to restore protocol, and why a single chair became a symbol of the monarchy's future. If the reported seating confusion truly ended within moments, why did it continue to generate discussion long after the banquet was over? The answer, many royal commentators argue, lies in what that single chair represented. Inside the British monarchy, protocol is not simply a collection of old traditions. It is the visual language of the institution itself. Every entrance, every photograph, every seating arrangement sends a message, not only to those inside the room, but to the world watching outside. That is why even a seemingly minor mix-up can become the subject of intense public debate. According to various royal commentators and media discussions, palace staff reportedly recognized the seating issue almost immediately. If that is accurate, they would likely have followed the long-established principle that has guided royal events for generations: resolve the matter quietly, preserve the dignity of the occasion, and never allow protocol to become a public spectacle. That approach has defined royal ceremonies for decades. Visitors rarely see the adjustments taking place behind the scenes. The public sees perfection. The palace sees preparation. And sometimes, preparation means correcting small mistakes before they become larger distractions. Some commentators have speculated that King Charles was informed of the reported seating confusion before the formal proceedings began. Buckingham Palace has never confirmed such an account, and no official description of any intervention exists. Even so, many royal observers believe that if a correction was needed, it would almost certainly have been handled discreetly and respectfully. That would be consistent with Charles's public image since becoming king. Throughout his reign, he has repeatedly emphasized continuity, stability, and respect for constitutional tradition. Those principles are reflected not only in major state occasions but also in the smallest ceremonial details. And few details carry more symbolism than succession. Princess Charlotte may still be young, but every public appearance reminds observers that she belongs to the generation expected to shape the monarchy's future. For many royal historians, that is why ceremonial placement matters. It is not about status for its own sake. It is about presenting an orderly line of continuity. When guests look toward the royal family, they are meant to see an institution that extends beyond one reign, one generation, or one individual. The seating plan quietly tells that story without a single speech being delivered. That is why commentators attached so much meaning to the reported incident. If Charlotte's designated place briefly changed, some viewed it as more than a simple seating error. They saw symbolism. Others, however, urged caution. Several royal analysts noted that temporary seating adjustments before guests formally take their places are not unusual during large ceremonial events. Without official confirmation, they argued, it is impossible to know whether the reported incident reflected anything significant at all. That difference of opinion has fueled much of the online discussion. Was it an innocent misunderstanding? Or was it a moment that highlighted how carefully the monarchy protects ceremonial order? Regardless of the answer, attention quickly shifted toward Prince William. As heir to the throne, William increasingly represents the monarchy's future. But beyond his constitutional role, he is also a father whose children are gradually taking on more visible public responsibilities. Royal commentators have frequently observed that William and Catherine appear determined to introduce Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis to public life gradually, allowing each appearance to reflect confidence rather than pressure. Every official engagement becomes part of that long-term preparation. That is one reason why discussions about Charlotte's reported chair attracted so much attention. Supporters argued that protecting ceremonial roles today helps reinforce public confidence in tomorrow's monarchy. Others dismissed the entire debate as an example of social media amplifying an ordinary moment into a dramatic story. Both interpretations continue to circulate. One thing, however, remains undeniable. Protocol has always mattered deeply inside Britain's royal institution. History offers countless examples. For centuries, monarchs have relied on ceremonial order to project stability during periods of political uncertainty. A carefully organized procession, a precisely arranged photograph, an accurately planned seating chart. Each communicates continuity. Each reassures both domestic audiences and international guests that the institution functions according to established traditions rather than personal preference. In that context, the reported seating discussion becomes easier to understand. It was never about furniture. It was about symbolism. As preparations reportedly continued, commentators believe any confusion was resolved before the banquet formally proceeded. No interruption disrupted the speeches. No diplomatic incident followed. The evening itself unfolded with the elegance expected of a royal state banquet. To visiting dignitaries, nothing appeared unusual. That, many observers note, is precisely how royal protocol is designed to work.